From the rugged desert outside Yuma, Arizona, this is Outpost Outspoken. Outpost Outspoken is the official podcast of U.S. Army Yuma Proving Ground, which conducts natural environment testing of military equipment in Arizona, Alaska, and the tropics. Hello, I'm Mark Schauer. In his nearly decade of service at Yuma Proving Ground, Combat Automotive Systems Directorate Team Lead Erick Hurtado has conducted evaluations of some of the Army's most cutting-edge vehicles. His experiences here were enough to inspire other members of his family to also serve the Warfighter. Had you heard of Yuma Proving Ground while you were growing up in San Luis?
No, not at all. It wasn't until when I was close to graduating from ASU in 2012 when my buddy Ricky and roommate during college, he mentioned that he got an offer from YPG, and he started working here closely after he graduated. And then a semester after he graduated, I graduated, and I applied, and sure enough, I came back to my hometown and started working here.
Now, you've been testing combat vehicles all these years, but your degree's in civil engineering. Did that deter you at all from applying?
No, not as much as I would have thought. Initially, I did want to pursue civil engineering, especially the design and structural design of buildings and structures. But just the thought of coming back home and being close to my family, I think was really a selling point to this place. In addition, with all the neat programs and things that my friend was involved with, something you really wouldn't be able to do anywhere else unless you were strictly in the Army or the military.
And I know you've tested the Stryker vehicle. You've tested the armored multi-purpose vehicle.
That's right. The Stryker vehicle was one of my first programs when I started here as a test officer. It was the Stryker Double V Hull ECP program. So I was on that program for about 2 years, I would say, before moving on to the armored multi-purpose vehicle during the EMD phase as a test officer during that time.
I mean, you must like it some if you've been here 10 years almost.
Yeah, definitely. Grows on you. I think just knowing the end mission, right? You're ultimately supporting the soldier. So that really drives me, and I know a lot of people that I work with also have that motivation in mind. Like it's for a greater cause, you would say.
Now you have to test in a natural environment, so it's brutal summers when you're testing something like the AMPV.
Definitely, we've done multiple tests in the peak of summer, and there's great findings through that. So that's why this place is still here, and I think there's a lot of value added into testing into a place like this, and obviously cold regions and the tropical regions. And
when AMPV was there at cold regions and tropic regions, they reached back to you for insights from your experiences testing.
That's right. So for this phase of testing, during the PQT for AMPV, I was the team leader for the AMPV program here at YTC, and the program over at Tropic Regions was starting up, and the test officer there was, you would say, almost embedded within CASD for a few months just to become more familiar on the automotive aspect of testing, just trying to brainstorm on how to go about the findings.
Now, for the last few months, you've had a detail in the Technology and Investments Directorate.
That's right. It's really been an eye-opening experience for me. Just being in the testing world for so many years, I've really never had the experience of stepping away from it. But now, these past 5 months, almost 6 months already, I've gotten to see the different side of YPG. So I've gotten good experience with the folks I'm working with right now in different developmental projects and trying to secure funding for new capabilities and new technologies. It's been great.
Well, since you've been here, some members of your family have followed in your footsteps, right?
That's right. Yeah, so I have I've got several members of the family that worked here. The first one was my uncle. He works over at the maintenance division, and obviously myself, I work over at CASD. My wife here works in CASD as well. I have a brother that works over in air delivery, and a cousin that works over at MWR, and that works there as well. I have another cousin that works over at the SEG, another cousin that works at the NEC, and his wife works over in the garrison side.
Man.
So, deep family ties here
Yeah.
at YPG.
Hey, Eric, it was really good talking with you today.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Munitions and Weapons Test Officer Kevin has worked at YPG for nearly 30 years. For the last 10 in his spare time, the Yuma native has volunteered with the Yuma Community Theater, using the same skills he uses in his day job to help perpetuate that long-running group. So you've been involved in Yuma Community Theater for about 10 years now,
Yes,
and it was your son's participation that got you involved.
correct. Yeah, it was. He was involved in several shows at the theater, and he was also involved at the high school theater as well. So if he wasn't doing something at the high school, he would be got involved and got into the cast of several shows at the Yuma Community Theater, and I would go in at times if they needed help, stages or sets or moving sets, things like that.
And before long, you got involved with the board of directors for it.
Yeah, I mean, originally it was somebody, there was a void to be filled, and so somebody asked, and I put my name in the ring and got voted in, and then did that for as a member, about 3 or 4 years, and then I've been president of the board for 2 years.
Now, as president of the board, how do you keep the theater going to put on 3-4 shows a year?
Well, I mean, it's a tough endeavor. We have to come up with a type of shows that hopefully that it will draw in the crowds that we want. They come in, they audition, and then the directors eventually, over a period of time, make a decision that they're going to buy in on the team that are going to be in the cast.
What are some shows you've done in the last few years?
So we have done. We just recently got done doing a one called Monster Songs, and this upcoming show we're getting ready to do Into the Woods, and that was going to be a pretty good sized cast. That's both of those two are musicals.
Now, look, there's a big time commitment to being in a show, even if it's a very minor role. How do you get folks to volunteer their time like that?
And so it does take a lot of time, and so you're just hoping that they have that commitment to come in and do those shows. And like again, I think it's usually for the love of theater.
Well, a lot of folks I talk to are surprised at how vibrant the arts community is in Yuma.
Yes, correct. There are a lot of artists in the Yuma community, of all types of variety of arts, entertainments. I mean, there's quality art as far as the music thing, and I think that there's quite a bit of great talent in the songs for singing as well. And one of the things that we've done too is we do a fundraiser where it's kind of like ties into the doing like Broadway songs, and so we've got some really good talent in this town.
I've seen you do a lot of stuff for the Children's Museum of Yuma too.
Oh yeah. Happens to be my wife is the executive director of the Children's Museum, and so as they are approaching to get the museum open, there's a lot of work and the front end to prep the museum, the exhibits set up is quite a undertaking.
Kevin, I really appreciate you coming here today.
Hey, thank you, Mark.
This has been Outpost Outspoken. Thank you again for listening. We'll see you next time from the Army's busiest test center.